Thank you, Joanne. I hope we can hear and see each other. I have perfect connection here. First of all, I was really hoping to actually be physically present with you, but we always have some issues with connectivity in Europe. So yesterday, all the Belgian airports were closed due to the national strike, which unfortunately prevented me to be with you personally. But I am here indeed, and first of all, thanks to the organizers for inviting me, for having us, for allowing us to share our views. Indeed, I have been able to follow some of the morning panels, and I can see that you immediately jumped into the heart of the matter. As was just mentioned by one of my previous speakers, times are indeed weird and strange, the times we live in today. However, in this weird and strange world, we have one comparative advantage here in Europe and a very strong asset, and that is our internal market, serving 450 million people. However, if we want to fully benefit from it, we need each and every part of it, of our internal market, fully connected. And this is where I would like to mention the Trans-European Network, which is, of course, something we deal a lot with in DG Move, which constitutes the backbone of our single market. And I hope in the hall you can see the map of the Trans-European Transport Network. This is the latest revision from last year. So you see what I mean when I say we need to be connected. These are the corridors that we need to complete in order to be fully connected. The completion will bring prosperity and security to the EU, but it will also depend on reinforced governments and strong cooperation amongst all of us, as well as on a balanced mix of funding and financing. And we just heard in the previous panel of how complex the world of funding and financing can be. We have also witnessed multiple shocks of the recent past. We already forgot about Brexit, but it's not that far into the past. We had COVID. We of course now faced with Russian aggression on Ukraine, war in the Middle East, and certainly changing geopolitical circumstances. This has all revealed how vulnerable Europe is. We have been witnessing extreme weather events caused by climate change, and they all have very, very serious economic impacts, and our current infrastructure is not adapted to these new conditions. So we will have to become resilient, both to changing geopolitical environment and to changing climate. And climate change is happening. So wherever we can, we have to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions. We need to roll out charging infrastructure along our roads. We need to provide onshore power supply to ships in ports. We must also ensure capacity of our electricity grid and find synergies between transport and electricity infrastructure. And this point, unfortunately, again, has just been reinforced by the latest developments in Spain and Portugal. We need to ensure that our infrastructure can withstand extreme weather events, and we can unfortunately see that these are increasing in frequency and intensity, posing significant threats to our infrastructure. And the latest sad reminder here were the devastating floods on the Aegean Islands this spring. So therefore, we really must, and it is a must, integrate considerations of climate resilience in our plans to prevent such costly damages in the future. Moving on to another challenge, security. Our network needs to sustain movement of troops and military equipment across the continent. And this requires appropriate rules and regulations, but also robust infrastructure to support such operations. A transport corridor is only as strong as its weakest link, whether that's a weak bridge that cannot support the weight of a tank, or a tunnel with a loading gauge that is too small for semi-trailers with armored vehicles to go through. Military mobility is very much about dual use, civilian and military, and here we need to do much better. And this concerns all member states. It's not just those neighboring the conflict areas. As NATO Secretary-General recently said, it only takes 10 minutes for a missile to reach Rome when fired near Tallinn. So we are all in it together. Moving on, digitalization, certainly a significant role in all modes of transport, be it European Rail Traffic Management System for rail, intelligent transport systems for road, river information systems, not to mention our aviation, which is really digitalized. Here again, we need to make sure that our digitalized infrastructure is secure. All of this will require mobilizing sufficient financial resources, both private and public. At the same time, we need to reflect, certainly a task for us here in the Commission, on the required regulatory approach and various funding and financing instruments. What we have put in place is one of the most successful combinations of instruments for implementing a single transport market by integrating a high-quality interoperable infrastructure, and this consists of the TEN-T and is supported by the Connecting Europe facility. With the new TEN-T regulation, in force since last year, the tasks ahead of us are clearly defined. And the next 2 rounds of European budget, something we call multi-annual financial framework, will allow us to close the gaps in the functioning of our single market. We are clear about what we want to achieve. We want to build a European transport network stronger than the sum of its 27 national parts. To ensure that our infrastructure is of high quality throughout the EU, the new revised TEN-T regulation sets out the strict requirements. Let me also mention the investment needs to complete the core network. So the entire network that you saw in the previous slide, and this is now what you're looking at, is the segment directly relating to Greece, which is on 2 European corridors. So investment needs to complete the core network by 2030 are 515 billion euros. In addition, we need additional 330 billion until 2040 to complete the wider comprehensive network. So the total is 845 billion during the next 15 years. And this was also clearly highlighted in the Draghi report. So this is investment in our resilient infrastructure. Of course, on top of this, we will also have additional maintenance costs, and these are so important, as was also just mentioned in the previous panel. So what we will need to do together with all of our member states is to make sure that we have the tools to build good infrastructure projects. And here I come to administrative capacity in the member states, which will be crucial. From our side, together with our implementing agencies and the EIB and the EBRD, we do provide technical assistance for capacity building. And then, of course, we are fully aware that some member states have a more efficient administrations than others. Some are very strong in using structural self-funding, others less so. And we have seen some good examples, like Greece, for example, who really upgraded their administrative capacity and are, as was also mentioned, really among the top absorbers of European funding. So as I said, preparations for the next EU 7-year budget are underway. The Commission is expected to present the proposal in July, after which we will have usually very difficult negotiations between the 27 member states, the other co-legislator in the Parliament, and of course we from the Commission will be offering our full assistance. So for European connectivity, this next 7-year period will be a especially important one as we move towards completion of a strong and fully connected trans-European network. We are really, all of us in DG Move and in other Commission services, looking forward to work with all of you on this historical project that will bring prosperity to all of our citizens. So I will stop here and happy to answer some of your questions.